Okay. Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Jillian. And guess where I'm at? School, right? I came with my daughters today to pick up our Chromebook devices because Mommy was done with sharing. I wanted my own computers back. So we picked up their devices today and I thought, what a beautiful day to sit outside and give a lesson just like I normally would. So today I have my daughter Anna. Anna, can you say hi?
Hi.
And Anna's going to be my student today. And today we're going to do the life cycle of a frog.
And I'm Connolly filming the video.
And Connolly is my camera woman today. All right, so come on in a little bit closer, Connolly. All right. Now I know Miss Amber's already talked with you about the life cycle of a frog, but I just kind of wanted to give you a reminder lesson. So I have this really cool work at my house. Come on in. Come join us for the lesson, right? So we know that, how does a frog start, Anna?
They start as eggs.
Eggs. And what kind of eggs do frogs lay?
Do they lay transparent eggs?
They're transparent. That means they're kind of clear. Can you see? Right? And now this is just pretend eggs. These aren't actually real frog eggs, but if you went to a pond or a stream, you might be able to find some frog eggs too. And they have to lay them in water, right? Frogs lay their eggs in water. All right? So those eggs hang out in the water, and each of those little eggs is going to hatch into a tadpole. A tadpole. So a tadpole is kind of like a little baby, just born frog, right? So here's a tadpole, and then here is its tail, right? And Anna, what do you think that tail helps it do?
Does it help it swim?
It helps it swim through the water, right? So after they're born, they can start to go get their own food, right? Because their mom is nowhere nearby at that point. She lays her eggs and she moves on, right? But they still have to live in water, right? That's where the eggs were hatched, and that's where they have to live. Let me get a little closer. Come on in. So the tadpole keeps on eating and eating, and it starts to grow, right? So Anna, this is a tadpole without gills, right? So it still has its tail, and it's just starting to grow those hind legs, but it doesn't have gills, right? And what do gills help a frog do?
Do they help a frog breathe?
Underwater, right? So if it's starting to lose its gills, then it's going to have to come up onto land, right? So it's starting to learn how to come up above water, right? So it can breathe the air on land, right? So that's why we call frogs amphibians, because they can live in the water when they first start their life cycle. Connolly over here. So when they're first born as eggs, they start their life in the water and as tadpoles in the water, and then they start to lose their gills and gain their legs. They're growing their legs and they have to move up to land, right? Now, the next cycle in a frog, right, after they've started to lose their gills and gain their legs, their tail starts to grow a little bit shorter, right? Because they're not going to need that tail to move through the water anymore. But look, now they're developing their forelegs, right? So here's their hind legs.
Front legs.
Their forelegs, their front legs, right? You can definitely see their eyes are getting bigger so they can see things on land, their eye bumps, right? You can see their nostrils so that they can breathe in air on land, right? And they're starting to get their legs so they can climb on up out of the water and climb up on twigs and sticks right by the shores of the pond, right? So that frog is going to start eating different kinds of foods now. I bet you know what it's going to eat. What lives near ponds?
Birds?
No, that's too big. Fish and flies and insects of all sorts.
What about bugs?
And bugs, right?
Yeah.
Insects. All right, and then eventually it's going to grow into that adult frog, right? And here's
Ribbit.
our adult frog that we know.
Ribbit.
Right? So you can
Ribbit.
see its eyes really well, and its nostrils and its mouth. And you know that in that mouth it has a long tongue for catching flies, right? And it has those powerful hind legs. Look at those muscles in those legs for hopping, right? Because we know that's how frogs like to move. They jump, right?
Ribbit.
So we know that when they're adult frogs, they live mostly on land, but they still have to live close to the water, right? Because what are they going to do to complete the life cycle, Anna? They're going to have to lay eggs, right? So here we have our life cycle of a frog. Let's say it again. Are you ready? Eggs in the water.
Tadpoles in the water.
Hatch into tadpoles who live in the water. And those tadpoles start to grow legs and they start to lose their gills for breathing, right? Because they're going to start to move onto the land. Then they grow their front legs, their forelegs, and with those 4 legs and that smaller tail, they move up out of the water onto the land. And then they keep on eating and eating and eating until they become an adult frog that lives mostly on land, but then goes back to lay its eggs in the water. And that, my friends, is the life cycle of a frog.